This is R.D. Sharma solution. Class 12th, we are taking the probability. Exercise is fifth exercise. A bag contains 4 red and 5 black balls. A second bag contains 3 red and 7 black balls. Now one ball is drawn at random from each bag. Find the probability that the balls are of different colors and balls are of the same color. So it's better to understand the question with the diagram. So we have 2 bags here. The first bag contains 4 red and 5 black balls. So in all there are 9 balls in the first bag. Coming to the second bag. So let's name them as 1 and 2. Second has 3 red and 7 black balls. So in all there are 10 red balls in the second bag. So let me write it here, 10 balls in all. So the first one is balls are of different color. What does it mean? 2 balls are being picked up. So we will write the probability like this: ball of different colors. A ball are of different colors. So this is only possible when you get a red from one and black from second, or vice versa. That is black from one and red from another. So we'll write it as R1, B2. R1 represent red from one, B2 represent black from two. Then B1, R2. B1 represents black from first and red from second. R2 represent that. So this is how it's going to be written in the probability. Then we'll transform this probability into actual values. So the first one will be probability of getting a red from the first bag and black from the second bag. This is the first one I have written. The second one I am writing as the black from the first one and the red from the second one. So here is the bracket after black one. You can ignore that. So I am going to write this as P, this R1 or B, R1 and B2 and B1 and R2, and then we have to OR them. So R1 intersection B2 is the probability of the first one. Then the probability of B1 intersection R2. So these two, because these are independent event, we can write it as PR1 multiplied by PB2, and then this one also PB1 multiplied by PR2. Now the actual values. Wherever you get R1 or B1, wherever 1 is there, first bag, the total number of balls are what? 9. That goes into the denominator, you already know. So just write the denominator here. How about the second one? That is the second ball. In all there are 10 balls. So 10 balls come in the denominator wherever B2, R2 comes. Now coming to the favorable cases. What are the number of red balls in the first one? 4. Black balls in the second one? 7. Black balls in the first one? 5. Red ball in the second one? 3. Now add them. So you get 43 by 90 in all. Now the second option or second option in the question. Balls are of the same color. So we'll write like this: probability of same colors. This means the probability will be both should be red or both should be black. There are 2 different colors. So balls of the same colors means getting red from first and second and getting black from first and second. So R1, R2, red from 1, red from 2, B1, B2, black from 1 and black from 2. This will be both red means R1 intersection R2 and both black means B1 intersection B2. So if you write them separately because they are independent events, PR1 multiplied by PR2 first case, and second case PB1 multiplied by PB2. Now wherever you have R1, that is the first bag, write 9 in the denominator. B1, write 9 in the denominator. Wherever you have the bag 2, write 10 in the denominator. Here also 10 in the denominator. Multiply them and add them. Now what is the probability of R from the first one? 4. There are 4 red. What is R from the second one? How many reds are there? 3. So 3 by 10. How many black from the first one? 5 blacks are there. So 5 by 9. How many blacks from the second one? 7. So this is 7. When you multiply them, the final result will be 47 by 90. These are the 2 probabilities of this question. And this is how it will be done. This is the formal way of writing. If you ever have to write it like this. A can hit a target 3 times in 6 shots. So let's write the probability now here. So we'll read the question, but as it comes, A can hit target 3 times in 6 shots. So probability of A hitting the target is 3 out of 6. That is, in all 6, which is the total number of cases, 3 are the favorable cases. So 3 divided by 6 is 1 by 2. The probability of B hitting the target. So when B hits the target, what does it mean? So B hits target means 2 times in 6 shots. 2 are the favorable cases, 6 are the in all cases, total cases. So 2 by 6. This becomes 1 by 3. Third one is probability of C hits the target. When C hits the target, the probability is 1. This will play a very important role in when we are solving the numbers, when we'll get the numbers, right? First, we have to devise the formula and expression, etc. So probability of C hitting is always 1. Now these fix a volley. What is the probability that at least 2 shots hit? That is minimum 2 has to shit. 2 shots have to be hit. So this probability of at least 2 shot hit. So 2 shot hit means what? It means it has to be at least 2 shot, or it can be 3 shots. It cannot be 0 shot. It cannot be 1 shot or one of them hits the shot. It has to be either 2 of them hits the shot or all of them hits the shot. This means we'll take 2 separate probabilities and we'll add them in order to get the at least 2 shot hit. So probability of exactly 2 shots hit, and along with this, the probability of all the 3 should hit. Exactly 2 shot hit is the one probability. We have to add it with all the 3 shots are being hit to get the probability of at least 2 shot are being hit. So 2 probabilities. 2 means A hits, B hits, and C does not hit. See, this C naught will eventually come to 0 only. But A hits, B does not hit, and C hits. Now A doesn't hit, B and C both hits. Again, in these all 3, which the terms you are actually witnessing, all these 3 are for exactly 2 shots being hit. The probability of C not happening is not valid here. Why? Let me compute the probability of not hitting. So A bar will be, A complement will be 1 minus 1 by 2. That is A does not hit. B does not hit is 1 minus 1 by 3. That is 2 by 3. C doesn't hit. That means 1 minus 1, which is going to be 0. So that is why the first one I crossed it. But better is to keep it. I will urge you to keep it. A hits, B hits, C doesn't hit. So these 3 are for P probability of exactly 2 shots being hit. AB is happening, AC is happening, BC is happening. Now all the 3 this shot is happening is A, B, C, all are happening. So PA intersection B intersection C complement, PA intersection B complement intersection C. That will be our second term while we write the probability. So A, B, C naught, A, B naught, C, and third is coming up, which is A naught, B and C. Then the third one, actually the fourth one, which is all the 3 shots, PA intersection B intersection C. Now since these are independent terms, we can write it as PA into PB into PC bar or PC complement, PA into PB bar into PC. This is the second one. The third one is PA naught or A bar, PB and multiplied by PC. Now the final one will be all those hits, PA into PB into PC, all of them hit together. Now let me write the values. The space is less for us, but still we'll complete it. PA is 1 by 2, PB is 1 by 3, PC naught is 0. That's why I was trying to cross that, but I would keep it. PA is 1 by 2, PB naught is 2 by 3, PC will be 1. Here PA naught is 1 by 2, PB is 1 by 3, and PC is 1. Now PA into PB into PC, all these 3, 1 by 2 into 1 by 3, multiplied by 1. When you compute all of these, you'll get 2 by 3. So this is how this will be done. When at least 2 shots are being hit, we will combine the exactly 2 shot hit with the exactly 3 shot hit. And this will be the required probability that will come to 2 by 3. The probability of student A passing an examination is 2 by 9. So PA passing the examination is 2 by 9. Student B passing is 5 by 9. So these are all given in the question. Assuming that 2 events A passes and B passes are independent, find the probability of only A passing the examination. So A is passing the examination means what? We'll do it here only. If A is passing the examination means B will not pass. So PA passing is by itself indicating that it is PA intersection B naught. A passed, B doesn't pass. So this will be PA multiplied by PB naught. So PA is 2 by 9. What is PB naught? 1 minus 2 by 9. That is going to be 7 by 9. I'm writing it here only. Call it as PA naught. How about PB naught? PB is given 5 by 9. PB naught is 1 minus 5 by 9. That is going to be 4 by 9. In PA, we are going to write 2 by 9. PB naught, we have just computed it 4 by 9. So this is going to be 8 by 81. Then the second part. Second part is asking only one of them is passing the examination. What does it mean? That is A passes, B fails. This has to happen together. Or B passes and A fails. So A complement intersection B, and we need to add them in order to get only one of them passing the examination. So this probability, these two combined, is actually what we are finding. You can write it like this: probability, that is P, only one of them passing the examination. So only one of them passing the examination will be combination of A passes, B doesn't pass, A doesn't pass, B pass. So the concept you understood. Let's multiply them. That is PA multiplied by PB bar, because these are separate events, independent events. The second term will become PA naught multiplied by PB. So PA is already given in the question, which is 2 by 9. PB is also given in the question. Let's write it here first. It's 5 by 9. PB bar we have computed 4 by 9. And PA bar, which is 7 by 9. So when you write this, you're going to get what? So this will be 43 divided by 81. The way of writing or doing it is this. This is the way you are going to write. There are three urns, A, B, C. So urn is a bag or a container kind of thing. It's actually cylindrical or circular. Means you can call it as a 3D shape. So first of it has 4 red and 3 black balls. The second urn contains 5 red and 4 black balls. The third bag is containing 4 red and 4 black balls. So 4R and 4B. One ball is drawn from each of these urns. What is the probability that 3 balls drawn consist of 2 red balls and a black ball? So one ball from here, one ball from this one, and one ball from the third one. I've already indicated first, second, third as 1, 2, 3. So we are going to use this subscript. So this means we need to get 2 red ball and 1 black ball. How do we write this? Because there are certain combinations which will eventually fulfill this requirement. What is this? So first one, red coming from the first one, second also producing the red ball, and third one we are getting the black ball out of it. So R1, R2, RB3. Coming from the first one is red, second gives B black, and third also gives red. There is one more combination. It has to be RRB, RBR, or third one can be BRR. So black, red, red. This is R3. So now you see the rows and columns, they are similar. That is, any row or column you take, it will be 1 black and 2 reds. So RRB, this row and column, if you see first row and first column, the R1, R2, B3 and R1, R1, B1. All these have 2 R's and 1 black. So now take the intersection of these, the first row. So PR1 intersection R2 intersection B3 is the first term. The second term is PR1 intersection B2 intersection R3. This is the second term. Third term will be probability of B1 intersection R2 intersection of R3. Now these are 3 different terms which are going to be added in order to get 3 balls as 2 red balls and black balls when 1 ball is drawn from each of these urns. So we will write the probability like this: probability of 2 red and 1 black. This equals, now you have to write everything. I'll just show you what you have to write, because in probability theory, writing is very important because there is no formula here. There are just logic and reasoning. This goes, first one I'm writing PR1 intersection R2 intersection B3 as PR1 multiplied by PR2 multiplied by PB3. The second term PR1 intersection B2 intersection R3 becomes PR1 multiplied by PB2 multiplied by PR3. The third one is probability of B1 intersection R2 intersection R3, PB1 multiplied by PR2 multiplied by PR3. Now taking the probability, the values actually, and now putting it here. Getting a red. First, the best way is to do this, that in all you know that there are 7 balls in the first bag or urn, there are 9 balls in the second urn and 8 balls in the third urn. So wherever you get R1, wherever you have R1, in the denominator you write 7, because these are the total number of cases and that will remain unchanged. So just write 7 wherever you get the 1 as a subscript. PR1, PR1 and PB1 all will have 7 in the denominator. Similarly, you have 9 for the second urn. So you have 9 here, 9 here, here 9, no, not here. I'm cancelling it. 9 only for the subscript of 2. So wherever you get subscript 2, you're writing 9 in the denominator. Coming to the third urn, we have 8 in all. So wherever you have 3 as the subscript, just place 8 in the denominator. Now what is the red in the first one? 4. Red in the second one? 5. Black in the third one? 4. not here, here. Now red in the first one, 4. Black in the second one, 4. Red in the third one, 4. And now the final one. First one has 3 blacks, second one has 5 reds, third one has 4 reds. So these 3 are separate terms and we will multiply them and then we'll combine these 3 terms. So the final computation will give you the result as 17 by 42. Now this is how we are going to write it. If you are able to make the boxes, that will be more additional value addition to this question. This question will be taken in the next discussion. Till then, thank you so much. Have a good one.